think I want to pick your brain a little bit on estimating.
Ultimately, the goal of estimating is get to a number. A lot of data that ultimately allows you to survive as a company, right? We're always trying to find what that perfect number is. What's that perfect margin?
Yeah, and in that little word margins, we've got so much confusion that at least myself and my team have seen.
Right.
Gross versus net. How much do we mark things up? Do we mark everything up at the same rate? Are we charging enough for our hourly rate or our shop time? My name is Dominic Rubino. Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. Today, we've got a pretty cool interview with Jacob Deis. We're going to be talking about estimating. He's also a business owner of a commercial millwork company and about 12 employees. His business partner was on the show on episode 100. And when I talked to him at the Energy conference, some of you out there know about the Energy software. As he and I were talking about his business, I said, well, why don't I send you a couple of the professional development tools that we use? So he's going to give us his review of actually using the blind spots assessment and reviewing the Construction Millionaire Blueprint. Those are all pretty cool reasons to listen to today's episode. On top of that, I want to spend some time at the end of the show talking about the massive thank you I want to give everybody for helping with the Christmas water project that we have for the people living next to the dump in Nicaragua. So let's get to the episode and I'll talk to you on the other side. Mr. Jacob Deis, how are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I like, this, you've got the sun shining on you, which means that the weather has finally changed, unless that's reflection of the snow and ice.
No, it's a little cloudy, but it's nice outside here in Colorado Springs.
Finally nice here too.
Yep.
Colorado Springs, is that? No, it's Fort Collins, the home of the atomic clock.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Boulder.
Military.
Yeah.
No, it's not in Boulder. Boulder's the big town. The atomic clock's got to be somewhere chill.
Fort Collins would do it.
Yeah, Fort Collins would be chill. Great to have you with me. Now, this is actually your company's second time being guests on the show, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, my business partner, Jeff Thomas, was on episode 100 a few years ago.
100. That was a live coaching that we did with audience members.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did he do? Did you go back and listen?
I did a couple of weeks ago. He did good,
I think he did great. Yeah.
He's still holding true to the things that he was saying, so that's exciting.
Yeah. And then I ran across you at the event.
Yep.
At Energy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, California. Great event, a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of people. That was the first time I got to meet you, so it was really well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just such great people there. We're very fortunate to be in this industry that I don't know that other industries have this openness and sharing. We're all working on the same problems, and
exactly.
We just have to come up with different solutions, because we've all got solutions, but just a different angle. The worst thing is if we just keep trying to fix the same problem with the same solution, and that one's not working, but we think that's the only one.
Well, exactly. That's what we, having that community and being able to, talk about the troubles makes a big difference. So, those events are really important for that, connecting with those people. Because, the other thing is, like, even if they are your competitor, you can still learn a ton from them, and they from you. So it's really good. Yeah.
We're all here to learn. But that's actually what brought you and I together as we were talking there, coffee in between different presentations and things like that. I made the suggestion to send you the blind spots assessment and the Construction Millionaire Blueprint. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. But then you and I had this nice side conversation about estimating and some of the things that you found in commercial millwork and estimating. So I thought it'd be a great topic to share your insights, your way of doing things, and also let people know how you use some of the tools in your business.
Sure.
Sound good? Yeah.
That's great.
Awkward question though to get us started. Do you mind if I ask?
Go ahead.
Jacob Deis, who the heck are you? And by the way, how is it that you, of all people, come to be speaking to all these forward-facing mill workers, cabinet makers, and closet company owners in the world?
Sure. Yeah. So, the co-owner of Formation Millwork here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Been in the millwork industry for about 10 years, but, going back, I started woodworking back when I was a kid. I built skateboard ramps.
No way.
Using all my dad's tools and everything else like that, figuring it out. I kind of got really into drafting at that time, through high school. Took a lot of drafting classes. And just really enjoyed it, loved it.
Yeah.
So then I started kind of going down the engineering path. Started going to college for engineering, working in an engineering department as like a drafter. Then ultimately drafting.
Like cabinetry and millwork engineering, you mean?
No, so this is like mechanical engineering.
Oh wow, okay, that kind of engineering.
Yep. So, and it's a really interesting company building offshore navigation lights and buoys and things like that. So, got to do some, works on some really cool projects. But, the further I went down like that, the truly art engineering, path, realizing it wasn't really something I wanted to do. So, packed up, moved out here to Colorado, and I was like, I want to start my own company. I kind of always had that entrepreneur mindset. That's what I wanted to do. And so, started, kind of doing my own thing. Within that, I started working for a large architectural millwork company, doing some really, like drafting engineering for some really high-end, like retail stores. And so from there, it really kind of broadened my horizon of what is out there, what you can really do. So as I kind of was just doing my own thing, on the side, I ultimately met my business partner, and then we started Westside Design Works 9 years ago, and then recently just rebranded into Formation Millwork. So
what made you guys decide to rebrand and change your name?
Well, there's several reasons, but we just evolved into a completely different thing. When we first started, we were doing just anything and everything, a lot of residential stuff. And we kind of found our niche in the commercial millwork and, really, really enjoyed it and started, working on some like really high end, projects with, really intricate, millwork packages and things like that. And both Jeff, my business partner, and I are very capable, very technical, him more than I, which is why he handles all of our engineering and production, and just really kind of, dove into that commercial side of things and really been able to grow something different. So about a year ago, we decided that it was time to rebrand. I mean, we're not in the west side of town and we don't do design work. So that was kind of like one of the first things. But in that rebrand, we really got to focus and, put into writing who we are and who we want to be. So really got to focus on our vision, all of our values and things like that. And so it was like business therapy.
Yeah. Did you use a template for that? This is so interesting to me. So how did you go through this exercise of vision and values?
So there's a company in town that we work side by side with on a lot of projects. They do more of like brand materials. So they do a lot of signs and things like that, but they're a very creative company. When within that, they started also helping with people's brands and things like that, which makes for a perfect pairing in the sense that like they're coming up with the brand and now they're actually making the materials for that brand.
Right.
So we worked with them, and the gentleman that we worked with is really intelligent and was really able to help us kind of guide us through what this rebrand looked like. So it was a really fun process and really eye-opening and incredibly motivating. Now that we have something on paper, what we can work toward, and everything in our brand, like our values and vision, it's all meant to be aspirational. It is not something that you can just finish and do. You have to continue to work at it.
We're always working on it. Yeah. The values, I find the words can change or how we define, but really the meaning is generally the same. If one of your values is family or faith, you can use multiple different words, but it's still at the end of the day, something around faith or family.
Right.
But it is important that we're always evolving it and questioning it, I think.
Yeah.
Like, is that alive in our company? Let's just say faith is faith alive in our, and if it isn't, if we don't have a story to point towards it, it's probably not, we don't have the right definition.
Sure.
We come up with a different definition. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we talk about, our values and vision. Like we do talk about it Tuesday. We have a weekly, rhythm, where we talk about something every day. And yesterday our value was build true, and so like, what does that mean to everybody? So we get to really kind of dive into that. And so not only was it an identity rebrand, but it's been a complete culture rebrand. So it's really two things.
Oh, well, there's a bunch of people whose ears have perked up for at least two reasons. One of them is, you're talking about rebranding, and maybe some people are thinking about that out there. So I want to hear just really quickly some of the, what would you call it? Snake pits you might have fallen into or things you didn't realize. And then the other one is, how's your team taking this? Because you mentioned that.
Yeah. Snake pit wise, I mean, we had another business partner, and kind of in that process, we lost our business partner, and it was mutual.
Oh, okay.
It was mutual, and like he decided he wanted to go and pursue his own thing, and it's worked out really well, for everybody, and I'm really happy for him. So with rebrand, depending on how things go, the things that can happen is you can lose people, because as you're trying to create that cultural alignment, there are people that are going to either align or not align. And that can take a lot of time. But So it was good. It's been a long.
Let me ask in our business owner coded language. Did they opt out? Did they just say, "Hey, this is the culture here"? They did. Okay.
Yeah, they opted out. Yeah, they opted out, and it was something that I think probably been really coming for a while. But as we started into this process, basically realized this wasn't what he wanted to do, and that's totally fair.
That's fine. You're from Colorado.
Originally from Houston.
Oh, well, this is even better because I've got a rancher. This is a rancher quote I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
And I learned it from some ranching buddies of mine. But if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
Right.
And the way that relates back to culture for me, and hopefully to everybody listening, is when you finally, as the owner, decide this is what we stand for, a whole bunch of people will say, okay, now I know. There's a couple other people in your company who are going to say, what? Yeah, I don't agree with that. And they leave. And guess what?
Yep.
Those are the people you would have put on the list anyway.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And so the biggest benefit is that, because we have this rhythm every week and every day that we talk about some of these things, is people are starting to, really contribute and be engaged more and more, and some of it has been trying to pry a little bit, which isn't always successful. People don't really respond well to it.
What do you mean, sir? What do you mean trying to pry?
Well, you basically call people out, hey, so-and-so, what did you think about this value? And how can you, what were the wins that we had this last week?
Why they don't answer? There's a very simple, because nobody went into woodworking to be a public speaker.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, maybe me. It's the jury's still out, but most of the people on our crew don't want to speak up.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, some of our guys are very technical, true craftsmen.
Yeah.
And that's what they like to do. And you get in front of the entire team and it can be, a little intimidating.
Not their happy place.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're probably asking those questions. Are you learning more about the business and how people, how they show up, really?
Yeah. I mean, we take our values and we apply them to ourselves, but we also look externally too, and how maybe our customers are aligning with those values. And that has said a lot too, is this a customer we should be working with? Do they listen first? And, do they make solutions or do they cause problems? So it's been really interesting looking at it on both sides, internally and externally.
Yeah. I'm so glad you guys are doing that exercise, because sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into the wind, but our values are the most important thing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I've come to learn that values are everything. And anybody can come, show up anytime, sit down, let's argue about it, but I'm not going to change my mind. My values drives everything. And all of us in our business does. And if it doesn't, then you probably find there's a lot of friction in your company. There's some things you can't put a finger on. You can't figure out why it's never quite right. And it's probably back down to that basic thing.
100%. And I've made this mistake. I wanted to put together a potluck. And I just said, hey, everybody, we're going to have a potluck. And some people, weren't on board with it for different reasons. And, I was really trying to figure out, and I was having this internal struggle. I'm like, how come, potluck's fun? We get to hang out. I know a lot of people like to cook and things like that. And, there's a lot of different reasons, but I tied it back into the values. Is like, I didn't listen first, and we didn't talk together. So we didn't talk together, which is one of our values, and I didn't, listen first to what people were having to say. So being able to,
nice way to say that. That's really good.
So it's been just a complete change in how we even think about how we're operating, how we're going about our day to day through this rebrand. And now that we have all those values and vision to stick with and guide us, it's been really, really good.
That's interesting. That's really cool. Especially making such a big change. And you guys how old of a company are you?
So we started about 9 years ago.
Okay. So 9 years, it's a long time. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks.
How many employees do you have in total?
So there's 12 of us in total. Now, 2 of those are remote outsourced drafters, but I still consider them our employees because, even though they're remote and outsourced, they're part of our team,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. And that's an interesting part too. Bringing those outside contractors or outside employees in as part of the team takes a little extra. We do that as well.
It does.
We've got to keep that in mind when we do things, to include them in what we can include them in. And,
Yep.
Hey, I want you to imagine that we built a tool that was born out of kicking rocks and frustration. And it's the frustration that we hear in coaching meetings. So what we built, it's a long title. What we built is something called the Estimator SOP, a simple system to logically filter out bad jobs, focus on profitable work, and use your time wisely. You can see why this is one of our coaching tools, and we can share it with you. It's just a PDF. But I want you to filter out the bad jobs and focus on profitable work. So what you're going to see is a simple and very logical SOP, standard operating procedure. So you can delegate estimating, which means you can get back hours every week for yourself as the owner, and you can stop wasting time. But I also at the same time want you to win more profitable work so you can keep your pipeline of business full. And again, it's all based on simple systems. Just take a deep breath. I just want simple systems so I can run my business predictably. If you want it, just send me a note and ask for the estimator SOP. And that way I'll know what you're asking for. My cell phone number is 315-903-7853. So you and I were talking about estimating, and then I shared with you so I'm not sure where to go next. Do we talk about estimating? Do we talk about the blind spots assessment, or do we talk about the construction millionaire blueprint? And I think I want to pick your brain a little bit on estimating, and I'll bet you that morphs over into this blind spots tool that you completed.
Yeah. So when I approach estimating, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do. I really enjoy it because there's a lot in it that you can get lost in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But, ultimately the goal of estimating is get to a number, right? Now that number has to do a lot of things. And it has, and inside that number has to be, a lot of data that ultimately allows you to survive as a company, right? But, one of the first things that number has to do is it has to be competitive, depending on, your type of work and things like that. Like we're all commercial millwork, so it's always competitive bid in general. So it has to be mostly competitive. And inside that, you also have to make sure that you have all your costs. You have to have, all your labor costs, all your material costs, and then on top of that, margins, because if we don't have margins, we're not actually, we're not surviving.
Yeah. So, and in that little word margins, we've got so much confusion that at least myself and my team have seen. Right. Gross versus net. How much do we mark things up? Do we mark everything up at the same rate? Are we charging enough for our hourly rate or our shop time?
Yeah. So it's, really interesting. I mean, and, we're always trying to find what that perfect number is, what's that perfect margin? And the only way that we're really doing it is we're doing everything we can to get feedback from the GCs that we're bidding. We're trying to figure out where we landed. Did they carry our number? Are we over, under? And it can be difficult to get that information because sometimes they just don't want to share. But, creating relationships with your GCs and, and knowing that they can trust you and you can trust them, you can tend to get that more and more. So we'll take that information and we'll adjust. We'll look at like, okay, hey, we were 15% high on these two jobs. How do we look at that? Where do we think we were high? Where can we make adjustments now? So it gets difficult to kind of really figure out at times.
Paint a picture for us, because everybody listening is seeing the finished wood trades from a different angle, right? You got residential people, you got closet people, everybody's got their. So tell us the kind of, don't give away confidences, don't give away any of your connections or account names, but what does a typical job look like for you? Because you do commercial work.
Yeah. So we tend to be more on the high-end millwork side of things, like the really specialty things. So our jobs really consist of about maybe 50% casework, and then the rest of it is like your really intricate architectural millwork things, wall paneling, booths, banquettes, walls and T&G that go up a very complicated like elevator shaft and stairs and stuff like that. So that tends to be kind of, where we live in, the millwork industry is kind of like that 50-50 between casework and architectural millwork. And, we just kind of fallen into that over the years. But the other thing is we're really good and we're really capable with the complicated stuff. And even though we're really good and capable of the casework, we're not always as competitive. So
on straight casework.
On straight casework, especially when it comes to like, medical offices and things like that are going to have 100 boxes, because there are shops out there that's all they do is pump out that, that casework and,
that lab quality furniture. When you look at that, when that estimate crosses your desk and you've got two estimates next to each other and it's Thursday afternoon of a long weekend.
Yeah.
Which one, do you actively choose and say, I'm going to answer this one and I'm going to ignore that one?
Yeah, so we do. We we will pick and choose kind of the projects that we're going after.
Yeah, good.
And
good.
even to this extent of like, well, if it's in Denver and it's all casework, like we know that we're not going to be as competitive.
Right.
So why are we going to spend the time even estimating it to begin with? When we know that we can have a job here in Colorado Springs, or even in Denver, that's more complicated. And we know how to estimate it, we know how to build it, we know how to install it. So we'll focus more on, those, more complicated projects.
Yeah. It all comes from data, from knowing your numbers. One of the things that you and I didn't talk about was the end of job reports and the end of job summaries. And that's where we get a lot of really juicy, beefy data on what jobs to chase, how to price jobs based on, everybody's got different criteria, but one of them is zones. How far are you from actually Denver? And then we'll say central Denver just as the
central
example.
Denver, about an hour and a half.
Okay. So that's a significant investment of time.
Yep.
That's half a day back and forth if you're just driving.
Yeah. Not to mention, if it's a bigger job, are you going to rent a truck to get it up there? Are you going to hire movers to get it there for you and trust that they're going to find actually do it correctly, put things in the right place, things like that. Yeah. So it is a huge consideration as we start going outside of like our zone. We're really good within 40 miles and, because especially given the type of work that we're doing and all of our installs in-house, we need to pivot and adapt to say site conditions. When it's geographically located a little closer, it is a lot easier.
Yeah, it takes a different view of the business and really getting control of the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this: when you did the blind spots assessment, how did you already talked about culture and changing, your internal sort of workings and your values? But what did you learn by doing the blind spots assessment as an operating business, doing well, very focused on your key client, got a strong team of people? What did you learn?
We're kind of all over the place. We've got some things that are really good and some things that are really bad. Like, do we have a scorecard for weekly metrics? We don't have anything close to that. We're not really looking at some of those things to cover all of it. And we're getting better all the time. I mean, we're doing it now with estimating. Hey, let's look at a report. How do we follow up? How do we do? And things like that. So we're starting to generate those things. But we talked about this a little bit, is everyone engaged in your regular weekly meetings? Yes. Everybody's really engaged,
Yeah.
Is everybody in the right seat? Yeah, I think so. And then, are we clear on our core values and we are hiring, reviewing, rewarding, and firing around them? That is something that we have not gotten to.
But it sounds like you're still pretty clear on the core values. Like you guys, you're bringing it to life. So it's a work in progress, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a work in progress, but actually taking those and, into the hiring and reviewing, because one of the things that we've really failed at is doing good employee reviews.
You just hit a hot spot.
Yep.
I went through, one of our clients had a review process and he spent days doing the reviews. And he goes, you know what, Dom, he's talking to me and the coach that he's working with. He's like, I'm going to put all this time into it. And they're just going to look at me across the table and say, did I get a raise or not? Right. Yeah. That's all they care about. And so there is a better system for doing reviews. And so I'm going to say it here first, and please don't start texting me yet, folks. It's not finished. I want to run it past all the coaches. But we are building another professional development tool, which is how to do reviews faster and better, because it can be done faster and better. It's a huge amount of work, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And I think we, if we just were more dedicated in scheduling the time and putting on calendars, I think we'd be a lot better at it. We have a really good team. And so it almost feels unnecessary, but you don't do it just for the company. You do it for your employees. And that's something that, I'd really like to, start figuring out how to focus on.
Yeah. We need good feedback. I mean, imagine do you have kids?
I do. I have 3.
Oh, 3. Okay. And boys, girls, what's the mix?
2 boys and a girl, and they're 7, 5, and 3.
Oh, okay. So the 3-year-old, I assume, is the girl.
Yep.
So I was going to use a softball example, but she's probably not playing softball yet.
Not yet, but her grandma definitely wants her to.
What's the 7? Is the 7-year-old playing sports yet?
He's in track right now, and he's done soccer.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So imagine he's on the soccer field, but the coach doesn't give him any feedback. Nothing, right? How happy are you going to be with that coach and that team?
Right.
And it's the same for us in the business, there's got to be a certain amount of feedback, the recognizing the things they're doing well, and also giving them an opportunity and saying, hey, look, over in this part of your role, opportunity for growth, or, making sure that you're contributing to the team in a way everybody else is around you. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. There is a crazy number, maybe a secret number that you probably don't know about. Now, myself and my coaching team have heard about this number for years. Even for myself, I've talked about this number in muster stations, construction trailers, boardrooms, buildings under construction, buildings about to be blown up. We've talked about it all over the world. If I say North America, obviously the States, Canada, Mexico, down in South America, Brazil. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's a number that most people don't know unless they're big companies. And I want to share that with you now. Smart contractors already use this number, and they learned about it at their kitchen table when they were a kid. And that is exactly why so many of us feel like we're behind the 8 ball. Now, as you know, I'm here to get rid of the secrets in our industry. So here you go. Here it comes. The secret number is your revenue responsibility per hour. We call it your RRH. And the reason you need that number is so you can protect yourself from making the wrong decisions. When you understand this number, you can delegate with confidence, you can ignore things with confidence, or heck, double down on the things that matter with confidence. Of course, you also want to face the reality of your business so that you can get to the next level, whatever that is for you. And it's not money for everybody. For some people, it's time. Well, this number is critical. I want you to figure out your revenue responsibility per hour so you can understand your goals and your bottlenecks, and you can start making the money you deserve and, of course, have the time off to enjoy it. If you want it, pretty simple. Just text me the words revenue responsibility per hour, or if you want to get all fancy, you can say RRH, and we'll know exactly what you're talking about. It's a PDF. It's a worksheet, like everything we do here is. We're trying to educate you. I don't want any more secrets in the industry. This is a massive number. We were just talking about it this week in our coaches meeting internally, and I thought we should remind you that we have it for you. Here's my cell phone, 315-903-7853. When you went and did that, let's not talk about every answer by answer, but did you do it and then go over to Jeff and say, oh my God, you know what we got to do? We got to do this. Like, was there some big epiphany moment for you out of it?
Not in particular, no. I think partially because we're talking about these things all the time anyway, and we're trying to figure out how to free up specifically some of my capacity in the near future to focus on some of the big things. Because for me, and because we are smaller, and we're all still wearing a million hats. So, and I'm so focused in on the day-to-day of project management that I haven't been able to really dedicate enough time to the bigger things.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure that out and how we can delegate more and, so on and so forth to really kind of figure.
There's a number,
right?
And this number may not be true for you or for anybody else out there, but in very rough terms, one project manager can install or oversee about $2 million of work a year. Now, that number's got all sorts of hair on it, hair and lint and dust balls, because it depends on so much on what you're doing. Veneer is different than white melamine, but
for sure.
But if you look at it that way, and anybody else out there listening, when you've got a number in mind like that, and you say, or what I heard you say was, hey, listen, we're busy. I need more capacity. But you've got that many employees. I can do the math in my head about what your revenue is. I'm like, of course you're busy. You're one PM running a business who's maxed as a PM.
Yeah, but we do about $2 million a year.
There you go, right? I wove all my way around that one, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course you are, because you're already at, and take this as a compliment, you're at superhero status. You're running a business and you're a PM who's operating at the highest level of PMness that you can. And again, your number may not be exactly 2, but there's a number that we can attach to everything we do. And that just gives us a benchmark that's why I gave you that report. And then the other one, do you remember the other tool that I gave you? The
roadmap or
the blueprint. Yeah, the Construction Millionaire Blueprint, because that was the next thing you wanted to do is start moving upward through the company, out of the roles that you're in and into that next level of leadership. Yeah. What was your big aha on that one?
So I think it's kind of hard to say because it's kind of going back to the other one. We're trying to do these things all the time, I don't know if I necessarily had an aha moment.
Do you know, can I put words in your mouth?
Please do.
There's so much to do. I don't know where to start.
That's totally fair. And that happened yesterday with Jeff and I talking about things, and some of exactly what we're talking about now is how do I get out of the day-to-day? I'm like, I don't know.
How do you eat an elephant though?
Yeah, exactly.
One bite at you cook it first.
Yeah.
And then, of course, but just one bite at a time, the strategic plan. That Construction Millionaire Blueprint walks you through all the way from what you guys talked about, your culture, your vision, your values, and what's the big plan. I don't know if you have, do you guys have a strategic plan that you're following?
Yeah, so actually, I was thinking back to the worksheet that you gave me, blind spot. And one of the things on there is like, do you have a 3-year plan? Do you have a 1-year plan? We don't. That's something I'm like, why don't we have this?
Why don't we have that? I know it sounds, when you hear it, you're like, that sounds so obvious because there's so much to do. When do you get to it? Yeah. That's one of the, it is one of the, how do you call it? Crossing the chasm. There's a difference between companies that have a plan and don't have a plan. And that's obviously each side of that chasm. It's okay. Now that the idea's in your head, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
Now that that's all you got to do is learn. What's that saying? A mind once expanded will never regain its original shape.
That's right.
Huh? I think I saw that on a church. I think I saw that one on a church sign.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. You gotta challenge yourself, and we do every day in business, but some of this time has to be set aside for the growth, and that's the critical part. It doesn't have to be hard though.
No, it has to be strategic, and we keep reiterating and we keep doing growth. Like we keep reiterating that we're growing and we keep growing, but, we don't have that clear vision into the future. And, this is just something we were talking about yesterday. It's like, okay, well, how do we create that vision? If we know that we start to slow down, in January, what do our numbers need to look like in November, when we're bidding things, right? To keep things really kind of flowing. So having that clear insight and, now that we have enough data, now that we can start looking back at all that stuff and really starting to analyze it, but you have to have the capacity to analyze the data, to understand it and things like that. And so that's really what we're struggling.
Yeah. It's funny, but you already gave the answer inside this interview. It's that scorecard.
Yeah.
The scorecard. There's so many, some people call it a dashboard or metrics. If we want to get fancy, KPIs, key performance indicators, right?
Sure.
The challenge is I think a lot of people think, well, I know my numbers. I look at my balance sheet and my P&L every day, sometimes twice a day. But that's not the numbers we is talking about. I'm talking about operational numbers. We have a client very close to you. I won't say where they are, but they have just I'm going to say they're about 3/4 of the way to having a dashboard that really, really works for them. About 3/4 of the way. But it takes a while to get there. It's not instant.
Yeah.
It's just picking away at it. But one of the interesting things they did is they started tracking available working hours. So let's say they have 10 people and they're all working 40 hours a week, then it would be 400. That would be available working hours. But then they started tracking time lost due to absences or late. And we suddenly found out that there's a big difference between those numbers. So I'm going to use made up numbers because I'm not giving away confidences here. But if they had available 400 hours, 10 people at 40 hours, just very rough numbers, but only 350 hours were available because people were away or absent or late, you are never going to hit your schedules.
No.
It's never going to happen. And yet, what do we always do? The biggest optimists in the world, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We walk up to the board and we're like, we're going to get this job done in 2 weeks, this one done in 3 days, this one done in 17 days. But we don't take into account the math that's on the scorecard that says for every 400 of labor that we anticipate, we're only producing 350.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the dashboard, that's one of the things in a dashboard.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah. One of the things that we look at on our dashboard a lot is our throughput, both planned and actuals, really trying to kind of like meet that. And then going back and, I'll take screenshots and, look, where it's at the beginning of the month. And as it changes throughout the month, I'll go back after that month and take a look. I'm like, well, we were closer. No, we weren't anywhere near that,
Yeah. Do you have overtime? Do you have issues with overtime?
No.
Oh, good. Because
not in general.
Yeah. Because looking at throughput, or we track labor efficiency ratio, that really gives you insights into whether you're about to go into OT. And OT never gets budgeted for. We don't estimate for OT,
No.
And that's so we lose. Us in this industry, we can lose a lot of money just from overtime.
Yeah. One of the places, I recently had to outsource some install that I wasn't planning on, and, that was a struggle. And, but there's a lot of reasons why that happened. I'll always take accountability for it, for not having insight of where this was actually going or so on and so forth. But that hurts, when you have to do things like that. And it works the same way you're saying with overtime, right?
Surprise expenses.
Yeah. And, if my installers were already kind of working overtime, trying to figure things out. Also Easter weekend and Good Friday. And so trying to rush to get everything done before people already had, their obligations. Because the reality is we don't have We all have lives outside of work, you know?
No.
And so
No.
you're right. I can't
That Easter bunny's not going to hide his own eggs.
Yeah. So we, you know, that's one of the big things is we really try to make sure our people are happy and they can fulfill their obligations outside of here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there is, it is uncommon pressure that's put upon us, or that we put upon ourselves as business owners, to be a leader, to go out there and create opportunities for others in terms of jobs. Yeah. I'm gonna keep you full 40 hours a week for as many years as you want to live here.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure on us. You know, then we've got customers who got to keep happy, and you've got inspectors that you got to keep happy, and all, you know, everything. It adds up. But at the same time, it's the most rewarding thing because we're really in charge of our own destiny.
100%. Yeah. One of the things I really love about, you know, the rewarding part about doing like commercial millwork is we do a lot of restaurants and, you know, coffee shops.
I was just going to ask, when you started talking about elevators, I'm like, what kind of TIs are you doing? Because I like TIs because the time frame, but you know, you find out about it and it's done in 6 months. Whereas some other commercial millwork, you find out about it, you don't even get the contract for a year, and it goes into production in 18 months.
Right.
Yeah. So you do a lot of restaurants, and then what happens?
Yeah. I mean, and so we're, you know, we do really well on the restaurant side of things, and are fortunate enough to work with some really good GCs and architects, especially, that come up with these crazy designs. But, you know, there can be some struggles and some heartache going through those. But when you're done, you get to walk into these places with your friends and family.
I point to it.
Yeah, exactly. So
say, we made that.
Yeah, we're finishing up a high-end steakhouse up in the mountains right now, and you know it's been a difficult job. I mean, but it's also like, you know, I don't go on a site too often. I'm like constantly asking my installers, just like, send me photos, I want to see. You know, and like just really excited to go and sit down and have a really nice steak at this place.
Have a steak, yeah.
You know?
Well, and listen, you talked about culture. Share those photos with the crew, like that's at the shop, that maybe won't go to that steakhouse because it's too far away, but show them, say, you know, remember when you were working on that edge banding or that veneer layup? That's what you were building. And when it looks so cool, and it's got the glass behind it and the lights and
I mean, there's a wine room that has a glass floor, and inside it is houses like 450 bottles of wine, and it's all these crazy wine racks and, you know, like all kinds of stuff. Like, you're going to walk into this place, you're going to look up and you see our work, and I love that. And so do all of our people. So yeah.
Well, you've got 3 kids. I don't know if you're going to want to take them to that steakhouse, but imagine, but imagine if you do, and you say, Daddy built that. You'd be like, whoa. And you're
that's always fun. That's always fun.
Things changed when my kids found out I was neither tall nor funny, but for a while they believed both of those things.
Yeah, but you sound the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you being here and talking about, we've covered a lot. We've talked about estimating, culture, values, a little bit about your vision, where you want to take this, the growth that you guys have had. Because I mean, Jeff was on here at episode 100. We're at, I don't know, I should count because I don't know when you're going to go live, but it's 250 something.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We love what we do, and educating others is there anything better, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then connecting with people, you know, and like that's a ton of fun. So
yeah, that was one of my big fears going to, you know, Energy, or if I go to any of those things, I might talk to somebody all day, but all I ever see is really from just about their neck up. It's I don't know if you're tall or short or like, and I might walk past you and not know, even though we've spoken on the phone 20 times. And it's one of my biggest fears, especially because all I want to do in this life is have a cup of coffee with you. Yeah. And I feel like I'm going to miss the opportunity. Well, you and I got to do that as we're walking through, but that's what I look forward to, man. Just connecting with people and helping each other out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, listen, say hi to Jeff for me. If somebody wants to find you in this big wide world, maybe they have questions or maybe they want to throw you some work. How do we find you?
Yeah, so you can check out our new website that was just launched. It's
nicely done. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, formationmw.com. Reach out to me personally. I always love to connect with people. You can call me. My phone number is 719-216-5483, or email me. It's jacob@formationmw.com.
Nice. So Formation M is in Formation Millwork.
Yep.
Nice.
Exactly.
I love it. How hard was it to find a domain name that matched?
It wasn't.
I guess when you add the MD on the end, it gets a little easier.
Formationmillwork.com was available just as well, but you know, I like to simplify things because we all have to type in email addresses all the time.
On your phone.
Super long. Yeah, exactly. So, you know,
wait, you're talking to Dominic from cabinetmakerprofitsystem.com. Is that, could it be longer?
It probably could be.
Do you imagine if I had my full name as my email? Dominic Rubino at cabinetmakerprofitsystem.com. People would be like, Yeah, find somebody else. It's too long.
Yep. I just love how it's Dr. at.
Yeah, not a doctor. DR at.
I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah. My mom would be so proud. All right, man. Listen, thank you so much for your insight. And folks listening, thanks for checking in. All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Talk to you
Dominic. Really
soon.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Yeah. Bye bye. Well, well, well. Thank you, Mr. Jacob Deis, for being with us and representing Colorado on the Cabinet Maker Show, and also sharing your insights into estimating and how important that is. Really loved hearing some of his thoughts and comments around culture and how important it is to build the right culture in the company. You can see that he's a very thoughtful and measured guy, and he takes these things very seriously. Jeff, his partner, like I said, has been on the show before, and they've gone through significant growth in that company just by picking away at it and continually looking forward, obviously listening to the show, if you don't mind me saying, and working on themselves and working on the business. Just keep doing it, boys. We also had a chance to talk about these two documents, the Where Are My Business Blind Spots and the Construction Millionaire Blueprint. Now, if you want those so you can do the assessment yourself, just send me a text. It's the easiest way to do it. Just send me short words so I understand. If you want the blueprint, if you want the blind spots, just say blind spots and text it to me. My cell phone is 315 903 7853. And if you text me the word blind spots, then I know that you want the blind spots assessment. So Jacob went and did that. He actually mentioned some of the questions here on the show. And what I want you to do is when you get that, I want you to download it. Just download it right away and then print it off and then leave the office. Get out of the office. You deserve a break. You need to go clear your head. Go to a really nice coffee shop. Maybe a coffee shop you don't normally even go to. Face the corner, face the window. I don't care what it is, but put in your headphones so nobody bugs you, because probably everybody knows you in this town, and just doodle on that piece of paper. Answer the questions and think about your business the way Jacob did. What is the opportunity that's in front of you? What's the next thing you need to work on? Now, we talked here a little bit about the transition from being the project manager of his company into the more of the CEO or president role. Those are important considerations. And if you never, allow yourself the chance to think about those things, then tomorrow's going to be the same as today. It's going to be the same as yesterday and the day before that. If you want something different, you're in charge, my friend. It's up to you to make it different. There's no other way to say it. It is on you. And all of the tools that we have here for you help you get through that, as you've heard Jacob doing. The second by the way, the phone number is 315-903-7853. The second document that I shared with him is the Construction Millionaire Blueprint. Now, really, I probably shouldn't share this with you because this is the poster on the wall for myself and my entire coaching team. When we sit down with a business owner and we want to show them how to turn around their business, whether it's in cabinetry or any other trade, this is our SOP. It's all the headings. It's all the order of operations. You do this first, you do this second, you do this. How many steps are here? 17th. There's 17 steps here. It is the script that runs in the back of our head as professional business coaches. Really, there's nothing to hide. I want you to look at it. I want you to have it. What's the worst that could happen? You improve your company? That's exactly what I want. That's the perfect thing. So if you want the Construction Millionaire Blueprint, that's too long to type, and it's for sure you're going to do a typo, especially if you're me. So just send me the word blueprint, and then I'll send that off. It's a PDF. You can print it, have a look at it. If you've got a business partner, this is a really good tool, as is the blind spots, but it's a really good tool for you to visualize where you are in the company and what the next step is. And this is just as important, after you take that step, what's the next step and the next one after that? Because the nice thing about a map, which is what this blueprint is that you can see the whole process from start to finish, soup to nuts, right? From the deserts to all the way to the mountaintops. You can see it all. So again, if you want that one, just text me the word blueprint and send it to me. My cell is 315-903-7853. Now, let's switch gears here. You guys know that Christmas last year, I put a challenge out to all of us to like and comment on as many of the episodes as you can. Choose Jacob's episode, like and comment on this one. Give us your feedback, because every time you do, that counts as a point. And every point counts as 10 liters of water that we're going to donate to a community that lives next to a dump in Nicaragua. The impact on those families is immense. Of course, when people don't have clean drinking water and they don't drink clean water, they get sick, which means they can't go to school. And so the cycle of poverty continues. So I thought to myself, every year I do something fun because I'm a positive guy. I like to do fun things, but we got to use this community in a way that's more impactful. We really have an opportunity to change the world. And so the Christmas water project was born. So it's very simple. Every time you like or comment on an episode, it adds up to points. Those points get converted into water. We're at 14,000 points. 14,000. For those of you who listen to the show a lot, you'll remember that in November, we were at 60, 60, and we're already at 14,000 points, which means 14,270 of you decided to click or like or comment. So thank you for that. Or maybe you sat there with your kids and said, hey, let's make an impact in the world. Thanks. All you got to do is comment, or as somebody pointed out, you can unlike or poorly comment, I guess, whatever it is. But either way, you're doing good in the world. And we're going to take all of that momentum that we've done and we're going to put it forward. By the way, you might wonder what 14,270 liters actually looks like. Well, liters is how they measure things in Nicaragua, but it's 3,700 gallons. And here's a pretty interesting fact. That is about 92 bathtubs of water, or a medium above ground pool, or, and this one really blew me away, it's how much blood your heart pumps in a day. There's an interesting fact. We're almost getting back to the dad jokes, folks. Very close with that little factoid. It's how much your daily heart output is. Anyways, all you got to do is like or comment on a post, and I appreciate all the work that everybody's put into doing it and helping me take it so seriously. Folks, as I was saying to Jacob, I look forward to the day when you and I have a chance to have a cup of coffee, glass of wine, maybe an old fashioned somewhere, hopefully a patio overlooking the water. But wherever it is, I'll be happy. Until then, we will see you on the next episode. I appreciate you. Have a great day.